So, as an avoidant attachment style, both fearful avoidant, but particularly dismissive avoidant, there are many reasons that you can lose deep self connection. And in this video, we are going to talk about exactly why that happens, plus four really important actionable steps that you can take to really recover that lost self connection. And if you stick around till the end, of course, we'll save the best one for last. So, first and foremost, the most important thing to recognize is that recovering lost self connection actually starts with recovering the connection to our emotions. And as both fearful avoidant and dismissive avoidant attachment styles, something that often takes place is that we will disconnect from our emotions because they don't feel good. We will try to stuff them down, push them down, repress them, numb them through distractions, through binging on alcohol or games or drugs or television or whatever it might be, all as a means to not feel. But what you have to understand is that our emotions are always giving us perfect feedback, literally. Always giving us perfect feedback. And when we judge somebody from the outside by their emotions, what we're not realizing is that emotions are more often giving perfect feedback about our inner world rather than the objective things that are taking place in the outer world. So let me explain this to you because it's a really important point. Let's say that I see somebody at a grocery store and they drop all their groceries and they start crying because their groceries dropped on the floor. I might look at that if I didn't have this sort of awareness about emotions and go, oh, it's not a big deal. Why are they crying? That may be my objective interpretation or a really subjective interpretation about their experience. But the reality is, each of our emotional experiences are subjective, almost exclusively. And so, what might take place there is that for that person, if they have really deep core wounds around feeling bullied for doing embarrassing things in public, and they feel all this deep shame, and if they already had all these bad things happening to them during the day and then that happens, their subjective relationship to that experience might be a 9 out of 10 triggering event because of their history with being bullied when they dropped things in public in front of people. And all of that stored emotion may be coming up because the subconscious mind stores everything. So emotions are giving, from the outside point of view, I might be like, oh, they're being dramatic, quote unquote. But the reality is, for them, it might actually be a stored dramatic experience because of painful past events. And our subconscious mind stores everything that way. And thus, we are experiencing our emotional reality subjectively. So, in other words, what we have to recognize is that, even though we may have these really strong emotions, they may have deeper roots than we recognize. And when we are willing to explore that, we are willing to explore ourselves. So, when we are willing to look at what emotions we're feeling and why, and really understand that that has so much to do with self connection, then we can dig deep into really the recesses of who we are and why we are the way that we are. And so, this is the first step to understanding lost self connection: is if we don't know who we are, what we want, what the mission and vision is for our lives, how we're feeling about different areas of our lives, if we haven't really done any of that introspective work before, we're just not clear. It actually starts with our emotions, because our emotions will give us feedback about our likes, our dislikes, the things that really trigger us, the things that really excite us. And if we are willing to listen to that feedback, we are actually engaging in the relationship to ourselves. So we have to start like actually building this relationship. And that's the first principle. But the first actual step to getting there is, number one, sometimes we don't want to tune into our emotions. We don't want to attune to ourselves and what our boundaries are, what our needs are, what emotions are giving us feedback about those things, because we have acquired limiting beliefs about what it means to feel. So, dismissive avoidance in particular are often taught growing up that their emotions make them weak or shameful or defective. And what they may experience is that when they did try to communicate their emotions to their caregivers growing up, they were ignored or rejected. And so, dismissive avoidants have fairly exclusively negative feelings about their own emotions. Now, fearful avoidants also tend to have similar dynamics. They may think that their emotions make them weak, or defective or shameful, or maybe that there's just no room or time for their emotions. And so, if we have limiting beliefs about our own emotions, it is going to create dysfunction. And when we really look at this and we sort of dig into it, one of the things you want to realize as well here is that as a human being, there are certain biological forces that have kept us alive for a long time. One of them being our emotions. I mean, think about what we come into this world exclusively with. We come into this world to breathe oxygen, to drink water, to eat food, to sleep, to go to the bathroom, and to feel, to emote. And so, obviously, these things are here for a reason. But if we are trying to repress this aspect of self, it would be like making it shameful that we breathe or making it embarrassing and calling ourselves weak that we need to drink water. I mean, we just wouldn't do that. So, why are we doing that about these other biological mechanisms within ourselves? And so, with that being said, what we then want to be able to do is actually unpack that. What limiting beliefs have I acquired about my own emotions? What have I come to believe about this aspect of myself? Is it bad? Is it shameful? Is it embarrassing? And I have to challenge those concepts. Just because I was conditioned to see things that way, AKA subconsciously programmed to see things that way, does not mean that that's an accurate reflection of the truth. That might have been an accurate reflection of my past experience or my history, but it doesn't mean that that is an objectively accurate reflection of what is true, right? That emotions are bad and weak and shameful. These are just concepts we got conditioned to see and interact with the world through. So we have to then be willing to challenge and question these beliefs. Is it possible that my emotions can empower me? Is it possible that my emotions are giving me important feedback that I don't want to miss the boat on? Is it possible that my emotions allow me to see what I'm enthusiastic about, what lights me up, what excites me, and what feels like a boundary violation or what I don't want to spend my time doing? And if I'm willing to really challenge some of those limiting beliefs, and really consistently challenge them, because it's actually repetition of things that refires and wires new neural pathways and new ways of perceiving things. If I'm willing to consistently challenge those concepts for a little bit of time, usually about 2 to 3 weeks, we start to see some momentum in terms of subconscious reprogramming. Then all of a sudden, I can open up to a new relationship to my own emotions and to my own self. And this is where we then have step two. Step two here, okay, so we had the principle of our emotions being important, but then step one is to actually find the limiting beliefs and challenge them. Step two is then we have to actually get in touch with what emotions feel like. We have to learn the language of emotion. Now, the language of emotion is sensations. If you pay close attention and you still your mind, what you'll find is that emotions are actually just sensations you're feeling in your body. That's what emotions are. When you feel angry, you might feel heat and tensing of the muscles in your chest, your back, your shoulders. You might feel cool or heat down your arms. When you feel sad, you might feel pressure in your throat or knots in your stomach and a hollowness and a heaviness in your chest and your shoulders and your abdomen. What you'll see is that all emotions, as scary as we may think that they are, we've just we've just been conditioned to believe that they're scary. They're only sensations. That's all emotions are, simply sensations in your body. And part of getting back in touch with ourselves is to get back in touch with the understanding of our emotions, to attune to what those sensations are, and to ask ourselves the question, what feedback is this giving me? So let's say, for example, that I am driving and let's say somebody cuts me off and I feel all this anger, okay? And let's pretend I feel, this anger and I'm like, okay, what are the sensations I'm feeling in my body would be the first step of really checking in there, assuming I've worked through my limiting beliefs about emotions first, of course. And in that moment, I may find, whoa, I feel this heat and I feel this pressure and this tensing. Okay, what am I making this situation mean? What are my emotions trying to tell me? I have to get inquisitive. I have to get curious. And in that moment, I might realize, oh, I'm making this experience mean that I'm trapped because somebody cut me off and this wound of being trapped is coming up. Why is this so strong for me? Oh, because I felt trapped a lot in my childhood. Okay, this makes sense now. This is why this emotion's so strong for me. Okay, what do I need to feel relief? Maybe it is to let myself know I'm actually free. It's okay. Or maybe it is to communicate a boundary with somebody, right? In a healthy way. I mean, obviously that's difficult if you're in the car driving. Maybe if I'm really upset, I need to take a break, right? Maybe I need to go do something else. So at this point in time, the whole exercise I'm trying to sort of like show you here is that we have to notice the sensations in our body, realize that these sensations are communicating something to us, sometimes about the present, but often actually about the past as well. And we can ask ourselves, what am I making the situation mean that's causing me to feel this way? And then we can ask ourselves the next step, which is, what do I need to feel relief? Okay, what would make me feel better right now? And when we start doing this, we actually take the emotions as the feedback that they are. We unpack the information that they're giving us. We have the opportunity to dig into, are there deeper roots here for me? Are there things that I'm feeling not just because of this present experience, but also because of unresolved past experiences? Like if I felt trapped in childhood, for example, why I'm more reactive to somebody cutting me off now. And what do I need to feel relief? Maybe I need to go back and work on that wound of being trapped from childhood and resolve that so it stops popping up and getting reprojected onto somebody cutting me off or onto traffic. Maybe I need to communicate a boundary if it's something that somebody did in the workplace and that's what I'm feeling trapped about. Or maybe I need to let somebody know what I need and have a conversation. Each of the situations will be unique and different depending on what your relationship to it is. But we have to be able to really use emotion as the feedback that it is. And in doing so, we will learn finally to reconnect to this lost aspect of self. I mean, part of why we have this lost self connection is literally because we believe our emotions are bad. So we're unwilling to listen to them. We're afraid of them. And so we can't partake in the feedback that they're giving us and unpack like what our emotions and emotional self is all about. And so, as a means of self soothing, instead of going inwards and actually soothing and discovering root cause, we repress, we disconnect, we deny ourselves of this biological function, right? You wouldn't do that for drinking water, you wouldn't do that for breathing oxygen. So, why are we doing it for this? So, again, part of reconnecting with self, a huge part is reconnecting with your emotions, getting back in your body, feeling your emotions again, being present with them. And when we can work through our limiting beliefs about emotions, then when we can notice the sensations that emotions are communicating to us in our body, we're getting present in our body again. We're actually reassociating with ourselves. And in that moment, when I can start understanding, oh, I'm feeling XYZ emotion, anger. Okay, what and is the meaning I'm giving to this situation? Are there any deeper roots here for me? And what do I need to feel relief? When I can start doing that and asking those questions, I can start navigating my emotions and self-soothing properly, right? Because the really huge part of this is that we're actually self-soothing when we're doing this work. We're actually using the emotions as the feedback, dealing with the root cause that's causing the emotions to not feel good to begin with, and solving for that. So this is proper and effective self-soothing, and it's proper and effective reconnection. So if this is something you're struggling with, I highly recommend diving into this, using this as an exercise, a tool. I also have a whole course all about really reconnecting to our emotions, what it means, how to do this really effectively. We've got all the list of sensations, so you can start developing the relationship between your emotions and the sensations in your body. We have steps written out in a workbook, and you can check it out for free for 7 days. It's called Somatic Processing and Nervous System Regulation. It's really powerful work for really reconnecting to our deeper self. And nervous system regulation is a huge added benefit and bonus to recovering that lost self connection because it's an important component of feeling safe to be in our bodies again, feeling safe to be in relationship to ourselves and to our emotions. So if you want to dig deeper into that course, you absolutely can. It's free for 7 days. Absolutely check it out. That link down below also gives you access to all of the personal development school for that 7 day period, including daily webinars with myself and other coaches and facilitators. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that this maybe shed some light on what this means in terms of reconnecting with self and also what it means in terms of um, self-soothing and dealing with that root cause. So if you're enjoying this channel and these videos, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I can't wait to see you in the next one.